Welcome into the Spiritual Noob. Today we are going to be doing a deep dive reading on the Gemini Zodiac sign. Before we do that, please like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. And if you don't resonate with this reading, please check out the other placements in your birth chart. If you're unaware of those placements, please check out your big three, your sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign. And if you don't know those three, check back with another Gemini reading and see if it resonates with you. Or check back with this reading at a different time. So I'm really excited to be doing this Zodiac series. I'm doing a lot of Zodiac videos right now. But let's look into the energy of Gemini. I pulled your oracle cards already for your overall energy. You have Bravely Go. There's some mushrooms around. There's rabbit in the background. You also have, I pulled another card too. You have Restore Innocence. I'm trying to get the glare off the card. A lot of highlights of red in these two pictures. I also feel like in the Restore Innocence card, she's a child riding on this like beast. And it's almost like the beast is the ego. And she's riding it, so she's kind of guiding it. So it's like the ego is our beast or your beast. And restoring innocence teaches you how to guide. You also have the number 9 in the Bravely Go card, and you have the number 23 in the Restore Innocence card. So number 9 is about endings, getting close to completion. It's like that step right before completion. And then 23 breaks down to 5. 5 is the number of change. So there's something about ending cycles here. But it's like, it's almost like you're at the place where you're ending cycles and you're kind of like moving into the space of change. You're not quite there yet. And yeah, so when I look at your tarot cards for the overall energy, you have the Wheel of Fortune, which this is about like destiny. I also kind of look at this. So the World card is definitely about completion of cycles. But the Wheel of Fortune is about the cycles as they're in progress, or like the destined points of our lives. I always say our birth plan is like, it's like a coloring book page where you have the outline. So we have the outline of what we're meant to do in this life, and through free will, we kind of color in the page, right? And the Wheel of Fortune card is like that outline, right? It's the destiny. So I think there's certain cycles in your life that were kind of like planned for you to experience or go through. But you are coming up on an ending of those cycles. You also have the Magician. See, this is you. The Magician, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's the card of Mercury. I was going to say it was the card of Gemini, but it's not. That's the Lovers. But it's like you're the Magician. You have all the tools that you need to really guide yourself forward in this period of time. And you have the Nine of Swords. So there's been a lot of like challenges. Like I feel like there's been a lot of stress and anxiety. This has been a difficult process, a difficult cycle for you to go through. And it's through that discomfort, emotional distress, right, that you've learned to be the Queen of Wands, right? You've learned to take inspired action. You've learned to really be the nurturer of the actions that you're taking in your life. Like, meaning you're not just doing things, you are taking inspired action on things. You've learned to do that through the discomfort that you've gone through in your life. So that is your overall energy. We're going to look at the general energy of Gemini, just to kind of like the Gemini qualities, just to kind of refresh everyone's memory of what the overall qualities of Gemini are. So we have, if I can bring them up here. Okay, we have Geminis are known for their intellectual curiosity, communication skills, and versatility. So, and like that's the magician. The magician is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is all about communication. They are often seen as adaptable, quick-witted, and enjoy engaging in conversations. While they can be indecisive and restless, their strengths lie in their ability to learn quickly, adapt to new situations, and connect with others. So the strengths of Gemini are intellectual curiosity, communication skills, adaptability, versatility, witty and funny. They're social and open-minded. And the weaknesses are indecisiveness, restlessness, inconsistency, impulsivity, nosiness, and surface level connections. So in summary, Geminis are versatile, adaptable, and intellectually curious individuals who thrive on communication and social interaction. Their strengths lie in their ability to learn quickly, adapt to change, and connect with a wide range of people. However, they may struggle with indecisiveness, restlessness, and impulsivity, which can sometimes lead to inconsistency and surface level connections. Yeah, so I'm doing my zodiac readings in order of like the type of sign they are. I can't remember what they call it, but there's cardinal signs, fixed signs, and mutable signs. I'm currently studying astrology also. But Gemini is a mutable sign, right? So Gemini, so there's a lot of talk about adaptability, versatility. So social interaction, like you're mutable. You're not necessarily, you're fluid. You're not fixed on certain things. You can adapt to change. So let's look at your oracle reading. I did pull your cards already for your oracle reading. They are House 8 from the Heavenly Bodies Oracle deck. Transformation, karma, family, fears, and logistics. What does that say? Oh, legacies. I can't read. I say that all the time. I need glasses. No, actually, they say I don't need glasses. They say I'm just getting old. Getting old. Okay, so you have House 8. You have Mars energy, which has been coming out a lot for all of the signs. So there's anger there. Mars is a fiery planet. That it's a planet of war. It's that energy of like, so on the card it says move forward and defend the self, right? So it's an energy of action. It's like, well, get angry energy. If you want something to change, get angry and change it, right? And that card is coming out for like everybody in the collective, I feel like. So then you have House 5, which is about passion, play, children, confidence, and creativity. So, and that reminds me of the Oracle card that came out for you, where it was talking about restore innocence. So play, children, confidence, creativity, restore your innocence. So do what you love to do, right? Do what you loved to do when you were a child. And I feel like the cycles you're ending in the overall energy may have to do with family, with House 8 here, because it's talking about family karma and stuff like that. Transformation, karma, family ties, family fears, and legacies, right? So I feel like it might have something to do with that. It could be your family that you've built as an adult for yourself, like your family, or it could be like your family of origin. It could be both, right? But there's something about that. You also have square, semi-square, quincunx with tension. So these are aspects in astrology that are difficult aspects. It is the number 54. 54 breaks down to 9, which again is the ending of things. So there may be a lot of tension going on right now in your close family circle or among friends. You know, if you look at your friends like family, it could be your friends too. You also have progressions with journey. So yeah, transformation, journey, move forward with the Mars card. There's a lot of energy of you moving forward, right? Transforming, ending cycles, moving on from that, learning how to renew life after the ending of cycles. What does this new life look like, right? So you're on that journey right now. This is an 11 card, new beginnings. We also have first house with arrival. So this is about the self. You know, the first house is all about the self, learning who you are, right? And this reminds me of the other oracle card that you got, which was Bravely Go. So do all of this. There's transformation going on. There's all this energy of you moving forward in a new way. Do this bravely, right? Like, know that this is like what's meant to happen for you. Like, even though there's tension and even though there may be stress involved and stuff like that, this is meant to happen to move you in a different direction and possibly your whole family unit in a different direction, right? This first house card is number 39 card. 3 and 9 break down to 12, which breaks down to 3. 3 being the number of the masters. I call it the Jesus number. So, you know, Jesus is with you, in other words. Yeshua. I like to call him Yeshua. So that is your oracle reading. We're going to look at your obstacle. We're going to look at your obstacle. And today we're using the Radiant Wilds Tarot. Very colorful deck. I like this deck for any of you that are interested in tarot decks. And we're also going to be layering the reading with the Zodiac Tarot. The Zodiac Tarot Mini, which looks like that. Okay, so we're going to look at your obstacle. We have Page of Swords and the Knight of Cups reverse. So I feel like you're learning from the negative action around you. Maybe learning not to get involved with things as much. Or maybe there have been some things that you have done and you're learning from those actions. You know, oh, you know, I let my emotions take over me, right? I got into this argument or I said this thing and I kind of regret that, right? So it's like, so it can be either way because this is a mirroring experience, right, that we're dealing with. It could be both. It could be that you've done some things and this other person's done, other people in your family or whatever, whoever we're talking about here, that they've done some things and you're kind of learning from those experiences. So then you have the Empress reverse and the Sun card reverse. So the Empress is a nurturer. The Empress is a feminine energy. When she's reversed here, her shadow aspects are coming out. She's ruled by Venus. So this is like, you also have the Sun card reverse. Like, I feel like the ways in which you have been taught to love and nurture yourself and or others has not caused success for you. It's been destructive, right? The way you were taught that at a young age. You know, you may be realizing now that, like, how to really love yourself. Or, you know, it's like we were talking about how there's an ending of something and there's a moving into transformation, but the actual, like, I feel like you're in the process of transitioning into that. So you may have to be at the point where you're asking, like, well, how do I really love myself? Like, how do I really love other people in a way that I'm the magician, right? Like, I can make things happen in the way that I want them to happen. Like, how do I love people through that, right? And that's why it's coming up in the problem area you're reading, or the obstacle. You have Seven of Swords. So when this card came out, I was really thinking of like see that flag with the colors on it? So the Seven of Swords is really about like lies, deception, thievery, right? And with that flag, I was thinking colorful lies, right? That's what came to mind. And I don't know if it makes a difference whether something is a lie or something is a colorful lie. I don't know if that means anything to you. Maybe you have been, yeah, so for some of you, this may represent you, right? That you may be in difficult situations with other people where it's hard to really be truthful. And I kind of understand that too, because I feel like you want to be true, you want to be honest and authentic with people, but sometimes you're not really in the place for that. And you can like want to, I know from my experience, I can want to bring up a certain subject that's contentious, and I'm not wanting to bring it up in a contentious way, but the fact of the matter is it's contentious. Because one of the things is that if you're approaching a person about something they did, and even if you've healed from it, and even if you know you're wanting to move past it, but there's a lot of healing around it, like with other people, that hasn't really been healed, and you may find yourself in situations where you're trying to be civil with somebody, and in order to be civil with that person, you're not able to be super authentic. I'm not sure if I'm saying that clearly, but yeah, like, so you can find yourself telling colorful lies. I don't even know what that means. I really don't. That just came to me, colorful lies. Like, what's a colorful lie? You also have Three of Pentacles. Yeah, so this is, you know, Three of Pentacles is kind of the energy I was feeling. It's like when you're trying to repair a relationship with somebody, but there is kind of like outstanding things that have happened in the past, And you're not really trying to like get into that, right? You kind of healed it and moved on from it, but it is affecting the current situation. There's other people involved. There, there's these elephants in the room, and you want to address the elephants in the room, but maybe you can't at that moment because that person is not in the place to really. Addressing the elephant in the room may mean for them addressing aspects of their self that they're not really ready to address yet, right? So you're trying to build these relationships with people and you're trying to be authentic, but you're having to tell colorful lies in the process. I don't know. I think like colorful lies to me is kind of like, maybe it's a little bit of a like lack of authenticity that's coming from a place of, I just like being super honest with this in this moment would be pushing this person too far, because you do want to meet people where they're at, right? You don't want to push them too far. You want to kind of like be able to discern. First of all, you want to work on yourself first. You want to be true. You want to be 100% honest with yourself to the best of your ability and work on yourself first. And I kind of feel like you may not be there yet, like according to this reading, just like the numerology of the reading and all that. I feel like you're not totally there yet. Like I feel like you're in a place where you really need to work on yourself and healing yourself, right? But for some reason, I think you are in a place where you're trying to build up the situation and you can't be super authentic. So that's a problem for you. And like maybe the bigger, it's so, for some people that's going to resonate. And for some people it's not. The point is that there's lies being told here. People aren't being super honest about, because it could be other people too. And like I said before, it could be both, right? Because you could be mirroring each other, but other people could be telling lies too. And maybe by colorful lies, when it comes to other people, maybe they're telling you what you want to hear, right? Because people sometimes, again, keeping the peace and being civil, people learn how to be not super authentic, which is a problem. So let's look at the last cards. We have Knight of Wands reversed. And you know what? I don't know why. So here, I said that this was a nice Knight of Wands. This is a Knight of Cups, which is interesting because why did I make that mistake? Usually there's a reason for that, but so you have the Page of Swords and you have the Knight of Cups reverse. So this is a lot of negative emotion. So I think that you have a lot of negative, this is the connection. There's a lot of negative action happening. And you have the Queen of Cups upright here, right? So you're trying to like keep a brave face or be trying to be civil. You're not necessarily like revealing your emotions here, right? But you are having negative emotions with the Knight of Cups reverse. This is a difficult situation for you. With all the negative actions happening around you, I think that it's like you're kind of having to keep a brave face. And so, yeah, maybe you're the one telling colorful lies to other people in the situation. Possibly. For some of you, that's going to resonate. For some of you, it's not. But, yeah, you have Knight of Cups reversed, and you have, I mean, that's not the one I wanted to look at. You have Knight of Wands reversed and the Queen of Cups. So, yeah, I think that you're trying to keep a brave face in a situation that's actually really difficult for you. Okay, so let's look at how you're embracing your Gemini qualities. You have King of Cups upright, and you have Seven of Cups reversed. So this is about clarity. You're the master of your emotions. This is kind of coming out in the problem area of the reading, right? Is that like you know how to, when you're feeling a certain way, you don't necessarily, you know how to put on a brave face, right? So it's like the King of Cups is the master of the emotional realm. So like you know how to kind of strategically, and I don't mean that word in a shadowy way, but you know how to kind of strategically manage your emotions, right? And and I think you're gaining more and more clarity on when it's appropriate to show certain emotion and when it's appropriate not to, right? And in terms of how that embraces Leo or Gemini energy, adaptability. You know, you're adaptable. You're able to. You're versatile. You're able to like say in this situation, I don't think it's appropriate, and I'm not advocating for it to be inappropriate to show your emotion, right? I'm an advocate for your emotions are your emotions, and so you should never shame yourself or feel bad for displaying a certain emotion. But I think you're a person that's like there's a time and place, and so here is not the place, right? Then you have Page of Pentacles and Ace of Pentacles. So the Ace of Pentacles is it's the universe offering up manifestation, right? And the Page of Pentacles is taking that manifestation and kind of running with it, moving with it. So it's like when things come across your path that's from the universe, like I feel like you have an ability, and whether you look at it as the universe or God or however you talk to the universe and whatever you call the universe, like I feel like you're able to recognize when something is being offered up to you by the universe, by God. Like you're able to see it right away. Oh, like that's instant karma or whatever. You know what I mean? And I think that like with the page too, the page is not only taking this offering from the universe, but the page is learning what to do with this manifestation, like learning how to be the master of the material world, learning how to be the master of all that is manifested in their life, right? So I feel like you're doing that. And I feel like that kind of learning how to do that is intellectual curiosity. How can I improve my life? Like you may be a person that's into manifestation, or you may be a person that, you know, you could just be into spirituality in general, whether that's through church or whether that's through like spirit, like unorganized spirituality. Like you could be into therapy or something like that, right? You could be a person who goes to therapy, and it's really like I feel like you're a believer that you can change your life, right? And you are looking for means to do that. So then you also have Knight of Cups and Six of Pentacles. I think so. This is about like Six of Pentacles is about giving, and Nine of Cups is about emotions coming in for you. So I think that you, even though you're very good at controlling your emotions, I think you give to positive emotions that come in, right? Like you allow them to come in, right? And you give to those feelings. And you give those feelings to other people. Like you are spreading positive emotions to other people around you. You're social. You know, that's a Gemini quality. You're social. You care about making the people around you feel good, feel happy. You know, you care about infusing love into the world, really. You know, you may start with yourself. You may start with like those around you and your family and your friend groups and stuff like that. But I feel like you do care about spreading love to the world. And you give as much of it as you possibly can. Okay, so let's look at how you're resisting Gemini energy. Three of Cups, which is about people, a group of people, community of people that you have close emotional ties to. So this, you know, again, this could be family. You have Five of Wands reversed. So I feel like this is about ending conflict and chaos within this group. I think you're resisting a lot of the shadow aspects of Gemini. You know, indecisiveness, restlessness, inconsistency, impulsivity, nosiness, surface level connection. Like I feel like you are emotionally, if not actively, I kind of feel like you're actively involved in this situation. And I feel like you're really pushing against kind of the, like, nosiness, having a tendency to pry in other people's affairs. Like, I feel like you may want to do that at times, but you're kind of fighting the urge to do that. I'm not saying you never do that, right? But I think you have a focus on this particular situation because you have a lot of clarity around it. That you're trying to do things in a way that doesn't cause conflict. And I'm not sure that's always supernatural for you to do. Supernatural. It's not always very natural for you to do. Right? I think you can have a tendency, even though you are very social and open-minded, you know, you have all these qualities that are helpful for, you know, ending chaos and conflict in a social situation or a social group. You're also resisting a lot of the shadow aspects that can add to that conflict and chaos. And then you have Seven of Cups, which is about, you may feel confused about certain things. King of Swords reversed. Yeah, like I feel like you're searching for certain truths in the situation. And that is, so it's interesting because like Geminis do have this intellectual curiosity, but I'm not sure I'm not sure that you guys often feel confused about things or feel like, man, I'm not told, like maybe there was a way that you handled things in the past that now you're like, I'm not sure that's the best way to go forward. This King of Swords reverse could also be talking about a particular person. There may be a particular person in this group that is operating. King of Swords reverse can be kind of narcissistic, really. It's a person that's like doing things based on like intellect, like in a shadowy way, right? Based on what they think is right. They're doing things based on what they think is right, and they're not really taking other people's feelings into consideration as they do it. And so you may be confused as to how to handle this particular person in the group. And I don't think you're often confused as to how to handle people. Like you're open-minded. So you're open-minded. So I feel like you're a person who really tries to kind of see different perspectives. But like this person in particular, you're really having a hard time seeing it from their perspective. That may resonate for some of you. Because I still do think for some of you it may be about you mastering your own intellect. Like what, maybe in the past you thought you should do things a certain way. And so now you're kind of like, well, I'm not sure. You're kind of seeing the results of doing things a certain way. And so now you're like, I'm not so sure that's the right way to do it anymore. So there may be some confusion there. But I also think for some of you, you're dealing with a specific person who's a little narcissistic. And there may be some confusion as to how to deal with this person, and that, like, I feel like you're set in your mind about that person, right? You're not confused about them. And that kind of is resisting Gemini energy, because Geminis are open-minded, you know? They're good at talking through things. You guys have good communication skills where you can't really talk through things with a narcissist. So maybe that's where the colorful lies are coming in. There may be a person that, like, you can't be totally honest with because it's not helpful. Like with certain people, it's honestly not helpful. And I hate to look at it that way because, like, I'm big on communication, and I think that, like, being completely honest about things is most of the time, like, generally the best way to handle things. But when you're dealing with a person who doesn't care about other people, who's taking actions that are very shadowy, that's almost like, okay, I really have to kind of tiptoe around this situation, and I do have to tell colorful lies, right? Lies that are very purposeful. Okay. I don't advocate for telling lies, just so everyone knows. But sometimes it's necessary. And honestly, like, unless you really have to deal with a certain person who's that shadowy to where you can't be honest with them, I just recommend leaving that person alone, right? But some people are in a situation where they can't really leave that person alone for real. So, if you're in that situation where you, like, really have to deal with this person, you may find yourself in a situation where you have to kind of not be completely honest about things. So you have the Wheel of Fortune and you have the Ace of Pentacles reversed. So I feel like certain things that are manifesting in a negative way for you are happening, like, for a reason. There's a destined reason why they're happening. And it's meant to change the behavior of you first and foremost, and also the behavior of everybody in the situation, right? There's some kind of, like, family dynamic here that the universe is working on. Like, the wheels are turning. The universe is working on, like, turning this karmic cycle around. And so that's why a lot of the negative things that are manifesting right now. So be aware of that. Which I think I was saying earlier in the reading that you are pretty aware of stuff like that. So indecisiveness is a shadow aspect of Geminis, right? And if you're aware of why things are manifesting, you're not indecisive. Like, you're clear. Like, this is happening. Even if, like, and as long as you aren't treating someone in a way that's not loving, right? First of all, I think rescuing people from the things that are happening in their lives, even if they're negative, like, if they're happening in that life to kind of, like, the universe is doing that to, like, help them grow in some kind of way, you don't necessarily, like, want to rescue them from that anyway, right? And so be very you know, be very aware of like why the things around you are happening. If you have the ability to help someone in a situation and they really need your help, then help them, right? But if you see that they're going to really learn from the struggle that this situation is putting them through, allow them to have that struggle, because we can't grow without lifting heavy weights, right? We can't get stronger without lifting heavy weights. So don't, like, as hard as it can be to do that, don't take those opportunities for growth away from people by rescuing them all the time. You know, in the real world, in the earthly realm, we have a word for that, right? It's enabler, an enabler, right? You don't want to enable people, and you don't want to be codependent, which I kind of feel like you're not codependent. You know, but you never know. So let's look at your advice from Spirit. You have Strength card reversed and the King of Swords. So here's that King of Swords again, but they're upright. I think the advice from Spirit, if there is a person, I kind of see this card both ways. I'm a little hesitant because it's the King of Swords upright here. So I'm not totally sure we're talking about the same person we were talking about before. But I feel like if we are talking about the same person, I think Spirit wants you to, they may come across to the public as the King of Swords upright, right? Because narcissists, I mean, maybe I should stop using that word. I just feel like it's a good word to kind of just describe a personality, right? It's like you don't have to fumble around trying to explain all these character traits when you just kind of group them into one. But it is kind of an overused word. But anyway, people who have these kind of personality traits, they know how to come off to the world as upright, right? When they're really reversed, they're really shadowy. And you also have the Strength card reversed. And I think the advice from Spirit is for you to know that this person really is not as strong as they come across. They're actually very weak, like emotionally. Because these problems, when people have this problem, it's really coming from a core of weakness, a core of trauma that was never healed within them, right? So you may sometimes feel like if this is a specific person, and this probably won't resonate with all of you, it being a specific person, but for those of you who this is a specific person, Spirit wants you to know that they're not as strong as you may think they are. Like you may think that like you might be in an abusive relationship with this person, and you may like, it may be hard for you to get away from this person. Like you may fear consequences, right? Or this is just for some of you, right? But Spirit is saying they're not as strong as you think they are. You know, and then the other kind of way to look at this is, which is really a little bit of a mirroring way, is for you to look at the King of Swords as you, right? You know the truth. You're the master of truth, right? But there's Strength card reverse. So it's like you're not leaning on your own strength, right? You're not realizing that you have all the power you need in the situation. So then you have Eight of Eight of Cups reverse, and you have Three of Wands. So this is heartache and pain, betrayal. And then you have Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is saying there's been some heartache and pain in this situation for you, right? And Spirit is saying, you know, you can walk away from that. You don't have to deal with that. And then you have Page of Cups, and you have Five of Wands. When there's chaos and conflict in a situation, learn from, you know, emotionally learn from that, you know, or like infuse it with positive energy as much as possible. It's interesting because it's Page of Cups upright. And you have Five of Wands. You know, okay, we have a tendency to see negative experiences as unvaluable, right? And I think what Spirit is saying here is that there's value in every experience that we have, whether they're negative or positive, right? So take the positive lessons from your negative experiences. That's what Spirit is saying. Which is hard to do. It's hard to do. It takes a while to learn how to do that. We have the World, and we have Nine of Pentacles reversed. So I feel like this negative energy has been building up for a while. Like this is a karmic cycle. And Spirit wants you to know that. Like it's not you. You may feel... I kind of have inklings that someone here is in an abusive situation. That's not going to relate to all of you. But even if you're, so there's a spectrum of energy, right? There's a spectrum of energy. And some people may be on the side of I'm in a super abusive relationship. Some people may be on the side of, yeah, my family is a little problematic, right? It's the same energy, but it's on different places of the spectrum. And later in this reading, I feel like the reading has become more pointed at a person or certain people specifically who are in an abusive relationship. But either way, the energy of the situation, I think for all of you listening, the energy of the situation has been building up for a long time. And what happens is that when you don't resolve certain karmic energy, it magnifies over time. You know, even in your life, you'll see in your life when you're starting to go through a tower moment, like if something bad is happening and another bad thing happens, like I'll give you an example, boyfriends. And maybe this is relevant to someone here, right? Because we are talking about potentially like an abusive relationship. But, you know, you have a boyfriend who's like kind of just a little rude, or a girlfriend, right? Or whoever. And then you break up with that person, and the next person you get with, but before, so that person was rude, and there was a lesson that you were meant to learn from that. You know, why am I attracting a person who talks disrespectfully to me? Like, why is this even showing up in my manifested world, right? So there are lessons that we can learn after every single relationship. It's important to really sit down and look at what was the mirroring experience for me here in this relationship? What can I learn from this? Right? So that when you move forward, you're moving forward with a different awareness, different energy. You're not going to keep attracting the same thing to you. So what happens is we can go from relationship to relationship to relationship. And if we don't resolve the energy of the lesson that we're meant to learn, that energy gets magnified until we end up in a situation that's like super abusive, right? So I think Spirit is saying here, like, learn your lessons for your relationships so that you don't have to keep carrying that energy with you to future. So that's the advice. We're going to look at the outcome. No, we're going to look at hidden things. What are you not seeing? And a lot of cards came out for this, so I'm going to try to go through it quickly. We have the devil. So there's a devil energy here. There's a karmic energy here that needs to be worked out. And it's related to the family, right? Ten of Cups reverse. The dysfunction in the family is an energy that's karmic. And I do think that this is a family situation. Probably for, I want to say for everyone who's here, honestly. I think that there's a lot of family karmic situations being worked out in the collective. And like I said, for some of you here, it may be like extreme abuse, right? For others of you here, it may be just some family dysfunction that needs to be worked out. So there's going to be different, there's going to be different amplifications of the energy, right? Based on whether this was, how long this energy has been sitting in your karmic cycle, right? How long your spirit, your higher self, has been dealing with this energy. How many lifetimes? So then we also have Five of Wands reverse. This Five of Wands keeps coming up. Five of Wands reverse, and also before I go to this, so this is hidden things, right? So this is a hidden thing, right? You may not be aware of the fact, or you may have not before hearing this been aware of the fact that this is a karmic cycle, that this is, you may have spent lifetimes dealing with the same energy in one way, shape, or form. So another hidden thing, we're talking about Five of Wands reverse and Nine of Cups. No, Four of Cups. You may have, like in the past, you may have turned your back on certain chaos and conflict that you have seen around you. We were talking about you being kind of like really good at controlling your emotion and kind of like almost strategically unveiling your emotions in certain situations. And I don't think that's shadowy. I don't think that's a shadowy thing to do, right? As long as you're like, if you're out in public and if you're at dinner or whatever, and you're like, now is not the time for me to break down in tears. Like, I'm coming from a person who has had trouble holding her own emotions in at times. Like, or there was like a few years where like all the energy of the things that I really needed to cleanse and release, and there were a few years where it was really coming out uncontrollably. So I really find it impressive to be able to like control your emotions in that way, where you're like, I'm at dinner, I'm not going to break down crying right here. I'll save it for when I get home. But that's my point, is that like when you get home, now it's time to deal with these emotions. Like, don't just repress them. You know what I mean? Because if you repress them, they're going to stay there. They're still in your energetic field. So you want to, if you can control yourself in situations where you feel necessary to do so, then do that. But always go back home and deal with it in the privacy of your own home, right? But I think that in the past, you may have like not necessarily paid attention to all the conflict and chaos that was going around. You may not have put your foot down in certain situations. You were trying to keep the peace in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because Four of Cups really is a card of apathy. And then you have Five of Wands reversed, which is about, it is about coming out of an energy of conflict and chaos. But in terms of what's hidden for you, I think that there are times when you did not overreact. And it made the situation better because you were able to control your emotions, right? Like you didn't overreact to a situation in a way that would have blown it up to a, you know, out of proportion. And that may be hidden to you. Like you may not realize that you have had impact on this situation. So then we have Four of Pentacles and Eight of Cups reversed. So Eight of Cups reversed is about a resistance to walking away. So listen, there's a lot of trauma, karmic debt here. And there's been a resistance to walking away from it. And I almost feel like this is pointing back to like past lives again. I almost feel like a hidden thing to you is that what you're going through right now is the same energy you've dealt with in past lives. And that, unfortunately, in your past lives, it wasn't resolved. That energy wasn't transmuted in past lives. So here we are, right? Like you've been holding on to it. You also have Three of Pentacles reverse and the Strength card reverse. So, you know, I was talking about earlier, like this Knight of Swords character, or this King of Swords character in this reading, that like Spirit was wanting to tell you that they're actually not as strong as they come across. They're actually very weak and very traumatized. And I think there's something about the building up of their own family unit that has caused that weakness. There's a lot of trauma there. And you may not know the extent of it. You may not know all the things that happened when this person was a child, right? We're really talking about inner child work that needs to be done, right? This person may be past the point of doing inner child work, but never say never. I feel like the universe is really working on all of us right now. So never say never. I've seen crazier things. So we also have Nine of Cups and Four of Wands. So this is about celebration, and this card, it always surprises me that she's pregnant in this card, like every time. And I feel like that can be significant, like when I choose a certain deck, because I was using the Crow Tarot in some of my other readings for the Zodiacs, and I chose to go to the Radiant Wild Tarot. So there may be someone that is expecting. Obviously, that's not going to relate to all of you. You might be expecting. But there's some kind of celebration here. It doesn't have to be about a baby, but there's some kind of celebration here. And then you have the Nine of Cups. So this could be the birth of independence. It doesn't have to be an actual physical baby. I feel like you're ending a cycle, you're transmuting energy, and you're transforming. And I think you may be transforming into a much more you know what? So this is the Nine of Cups, and I was looking at it like the Nine of Pentacles, which I feel like is significant when that happens, right? But so there's something here about independence, but there's also something here about wishes being fulfilled. I definitely think there's new things coming in for you. I do think that there's something here about independence and your wishes being fulfilled. I think the life that you wish for is going to be a life where you feel much more independent and you're really able to celebrate. Like, maybe you may be in a situation where you don't know what that type of celebration feels like. You may be dealing with a person that makes it hard for you to imagine yourself being independent. Obviously, this is just going to be for some of you. But there's something about independence here, and there's something about wishes being fulfilled in a celebration. And that's hidden to you. There's things about, I feel like the feeling of it is hidden to you, right? It's like you can think about, man, I can't wait until I have more independence, or I can't wait until this wish of mine is fulfilled, right? But the celebration, the feeling of joy that will come when you actually reach that mountaintop is hidden to you. The actual feeling of it. You have Ace of Wands reverse, and you have Knight of Wands reverse. You know what this makes me think of? So, people are down here on Earth to fulfill different missions. And I think some people are down here to be catalysts for others. Meaning they're kind of down here with the divine. It is a divine purpose, right? It's like you're down here on a divine mission to make someone else's life hell. But the reason is in order to help that person grow, right? It's not really about that person who's being a jerk. I mean, obviously, they're going to have to deal with that when they pass away. They're going to have to do a life review and see all the horrible things they did to another person and feel that from their perspective and all those things, right? They're going to have to deal with the karmic impact that makes on, that places on their soul and stuff like that. But I do think that certain people are here to be that heavy weight for you, right? Be that heavy weight that you have to lift on a spiritual level in order for you to grow. And the reason I'm kind of saying that is because you have the Nine of Wands reverse. So this is a lot of negative action coming in for you. And you have the Ace of Wands reverse. Now the Ace of Wands is about divinely inspired action, right? But it's reversed here. So the shadow aspect of it is coming out. You have two spectrums of light. You have darkness and you have light. But they're all part of the divine. Like everything stems from the divine. And obviously the divine wants its creations to move towards love and to move towards light. But it can take darkness, because the light, it's like easier to shine a light in the darkness. And so it can take those shadowy actions from other people to wake us up to a point where we understand things. We understand ourselves. We understand the universe. We understand all these things at a higher level of consciousness. So there are people who are here on a divine mission to be that catalyst for others. And that, I think, is hidden to you. So you may want to shift your perspective on it. And might not be the time to do that. But I'm planting that seed because in the future, when you're in a place where you can realize that it's just like when anything bad happens to us, right? It sucks in the moment. But then when we're out of it and we're healed from it and we've moved on to the next thing, we can look back and say, like, man, it's kind of a good thing that happened because I'm in a much better place now than I was back then, right? So that's hidden to you. So we're going to look at the outcome and then we're going to wrap up this reading. Okay, so for the outcome here, you have Page of Cups and you have Four of Cups reversed. So I think you are going to become more hopeful. You're going to be able to come out of this energy of like apathy. And like we were talking before about having to kind of like at times like turn a blind eye to certain chaos and conflict that was going on. You're not going to need to do that anymore, right? The outcome is that you're going to be learning how to live a life that's positive and happy and joyful, right? And you're going to come out of that energy of like apathy. You're going to be hopeful. You're transitioning from this Four of Cups energy into the Page of Cups and eventually into the Queen of Cups, right? Or the King of Cups. You have 10 of Cups here. This is about having everything you want. This is total wish fulfillment. Having everything you want in the physical and everything you want in the spiritual. Happy family, happy life, happy everything. And then you have the Emperor. So if this is about like a romantic relationship, you may be having someone new coming in for you. So instead of the King of Swords reversed, who's like a not nice person, who is a manipulator, who's a liar, who doesn't care about other people's feelings, you have the Emperor coming in, who's a boss, who is doing things with the highest intention for all in his mind and heart, right? Like, so I think you have someone better coming in if this is about a romantic relationship. And I think if it's not, if it's just about like maybe a family situation or whatever, like I feel like your family is going to find happiness and you're kind of going to be the leader of that. Like you're going to be the initiator of that. You learning how to be the magician. We got the magician card earlier in the reading. Learning how to be the magician, learning how to kind of infuse the situation with love whenever you can. That is going to be the thing that turns your family dynamic around. So this is your outcome. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you could resonate with it, and I hope it was helpful for you. Please like my channel or like my video, share my video, and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. And until next time, Geminis, bye.